The film opens 10 years after the war, in the American Northwest in December 1982, with John Rambo, Sylvester Stallone, searching for one of his unit mates, Delmare Barry, by traveling to his farm. Rambo soon finds out from Delmare's mother that he has passed away from cancer due to Agent Orange exposure. Rambo was a member of an elite United States Army Special Forces unit, and was awarded the Medal of Honor for his service in the Vietnam War. Rambo is aware that he is now the only member of his squad still alive, even if this hasn't been disclosed to the viewer. The action then switches to Rambo walking into the tiny community of Hope, Washington State, which is actually Hope, British Columbia. Rambo is swiftly driven out of town by Will Teasel, Brian Dennehy, the overly vigilant and suspicious sheriff, who notices his long hair and military-style clothing and notes how much he detests drifters. To Teasel's dismay, Rambo promptly returns to the town and is taken into custody. As Ambo refuses to back down from the station's cops, Art Galt, Jack Starrett, the vicious chief deputy and closest friend of the sheriff, starts beating him up. Rambo experiences memories of his time as a prisoner of war while he is being processed. Rambo loses control and uses his military experience to escape as Galt and two other officers, Chris Mulkey and David Caruso, try to shave him dry with a straight razor. This is because Rambo remembers being tortured in a North Vietnamese POW camp back in 1969. He battles his way out of the station, attacking the majority of the cops, hurling a civilian from a motorcycle, taking it, and running away into the surrounding mountains. Rambo ultimately falls down onto a steep cliff to avoid being apprehended, forcing the deputies to conduct a foot search for him. Galt shamelessly breaks rules after seeing Rambo from a helicopter, and tries to shoot him in the head. Rambo dives into a grove of trees, corners the helicopter, and defends himself by hurling a boulder at it. Rambo's projectile rock causes the chopper to tilt, which results in Galt falling to his death. Teasel swears to exact revenge on Galt for killing Rambo since he was blind to the plot. In an effort to apprehend Rambo, Teasel takes his officers into the woods. Rambo's fighting expertise as a Green Beret and his status as a war hero had been revealed to the inexperienced and quarreling deputies over the radio. Using booby traps and guerrilla tactics, Rambo rapidly disbands the tiny, confused team, severely hurting, but not killing the cops. Rambo confronts Teasel with a knife to the throat while isolating her in the confusion. "I'll give you a battle you won't believe if you push it," he says. "Leave it go." And then he vanishes into the forest. The National Guard is summoned, and a base camp is set up close to the location. Arriving to claim credit for training Rambo, United States Special Forces Colonel Sam Troutman, Richard Crenna, informs the sheriff that Rambo has been prepared to confront superior numbers in battle as well as to live in hostile settings, surprising that any deputies are still alive. He cautions that it might be safer to let Rambo go and find him later, once the turmoil has subsided. Driven by a blend of contempt and arrogance, the irascible Teasel disregards his counsel. Teasel lets Troutman speak with Rambo. Knowing full well that the latter had taken a CB radio from one of his soldiers, Rambo rejects Troutman's attempts to persuade him to surrender, citing Teasel and his men's appalling treatment of him. When Troutman argues that Rambo shouldn't have retaliated so forcefully, Rambo responds, "They drew first blood, sir." Rambo turns off the radio. After running for his life in a mine entrance, Rambo is ultimately ambushed by the National Guard. He is trapped inside as the inexperienced guardsmen shoot him with an M72 Law 66mm rocket, collapsing the entryway. They believe Rambo is deceased. Unbeknownst to those pursuing him, Rambo has managed to escape through the mine's tunnels. Rambo creates a makeshift torch out of some leftover gasoline. Rambo deftly utilizes the torch's flame, which serves as a signal of airflow, to find a way to the surface after slogging through waist-deep water and fending off rodents. After forcing the driver out of a passing U.S. Army M1352 2.5-ton transport truck, Rambo heads back to town and crashes the vehicle into a gas station. He burns the fuel leak and destroys the stolen truck, closing off the roadway to anyone pursuing. The locals run as Rambo, armed with an M60 machine gun, embarks on a shooting rampage around the village. In an effort to disorient Teasel and pinpoint his location, Rambo shoots and smashes a sports goods store as well as a few other establishments. Before finally locating him on the police station's roof, Rambo slips into the police station with caution. Recognizing Teasel's location on the roof, Rambo ducks beneath the skylight to use fire as a lure and disclose his precise location. Teasel opens fire on Rambo right away. After noticing his location, Rambo uses the M60 to shoot back through the ceiling, wounding Teasel. Teasel drops to the floor from the skylight. Rambo approaches him, ready to take his life. Colonel Troutman shows there before Rambo can shoot Teasel, telling him there's no chance of getting out alive. Rambo, currently encircled by law enforcement, he becomes enraged about the atrocities of war and the challenges he has had adjusting to civilian life. He is sick of being misinterpreted and frustrated that while he was a combat hero in the army, no one could even trust him to work as a parking car back home. He sobs while telling a particularly graphic tale of seeing his pal die after having his legs blasted off by a shoeshine box, put by a Viet Cong kid operative, that was booby-trapped. After giving himself over to Troutman, Rambo is taken into custody. He walks out of the police station with Troutman as the credits roll.